Hi, I'm here with Alan Gottlieb, the founder of the Second Amendment Foundation. How are you, Alan?
I'm great, thank you.
I just have a couple questions to ask you today. First off, how does this NRA meeting compare to ones you've previously attended?
I think this might be a record attendance. It's really kind of busy. It's hard to get down an aisle. There's an overflow crowd right now. Second day of that, and I'm assuming tomorrow will be just as good. If it's not the record, it's awful close to it.
That's great. What events have you attended this week, and which ones have you most enjoyed?
Well, actually, I've been stuck pretty much behind our own exhibit booth, dealing with our own members and supporters of the Second Amendment Foundation. So I haven't got to attend any of the really fun things, and I wish I could, because there's a great agenda going on at this convention. A lot of great people, a lot of my favorites in life, Glenn Beck and others. But unfortunately, I'm stuck behind a booth.
The NRA has chosen to target the legislature in their efforts to maintain and expand gun rights, while your organization has chosen to target the courts. Can you describe why you have chosen this route?
Well, one reason we target the courts is we don't lobby. We're not involved in legislation. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, tax-deductible foundation. So while we do education, research, publications, and legal defense, we can't lobby. So that's one of the reasons we target it. The other reason is there's lots of laws on the books that we need to knock out. And of course, our attorney, Alan Gore, is who filed the case, the Heller case in Supreme Court. I think it was our first Supreme Court victory, saying we have a right to keep and bear arms. And then he, on behalf of the Second Amendment Foundation, filed the McDonald versus Chicago suit that then took that ruling from we had in Heller and then incorporated through the 14th Amendment to all 50 states, so that now all 50 states have to respect the Second Amendment for state and local legislation. And that, of course, opened the floodgates for us. We now have over 30 federal lawsuits in various states all across the country right now.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, you recently voiced your support of the ToomeyManchin Bill. Why do you feel it was good legislation, and what has the response been from members of the organization?
Well, first let me talk about the response, the second part of the question. It's been a little bit mixed. A lot of our supporters, of course, because of the toxic environment out there created by the President of the United States screaming for gun bans, and senators like Schumer and Feinstein are reluctant to support anything. But I thought the Manchin-Toomey approach made a lot of sense for the following reasons. One, it stated that there was no federal registry that could be created. Two, for the first time, it gave us in federal law a 15-year prison sentence for anybody who violated that, to try to make it a registration system, or for that matter, would disclose your names to a local newspaper that you bought a gun or whatever it might be. Right now we have a background check at gun dealers, but there is no teeth in the law, so that if they violate it, they make a registration system out of it, or they misuse the data, nobody's held responsible for it. This would have held everybody responsible, even for the current background check we have now, plus anything in the future. I thought that was important. It also gave us a lot of pro-gun provisions in it. One, right now, if you're a gun owner, you want to buy a gun in another state, you can't buy a handgun out of state. You have to buy it only in the state of residence. This would have opened up so you could have bought your handgun in all 50 states. Likewise, right now we have some problems in states like New York and New Jersey, where if you try to travel with a gun, even though under the Firearms Owners Protection Act you're supposed to be covered, they found ways of making it difficult. So if you stop, say, in New Jersey for gasoline, or your car broke down, or a night in a motel, or even for a meal, you might find yourself detained, if not arrested, just because you brought a legal gun from your home state into New Jersey. This would have taken care of that problem, so that couldn't have happened again. It also would have restored rights. A lot of veterans now coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan because they've had stress in the battlefield, or being classified as stress problems, and no longer being allowed to own or buy or purchase a firearm. This would have taken care of that problem, so the veterans could have their rights back. I thought that was really, really important. I also felt that if it got out of the Senate and got to the House would add more pro-gun provisions to it, like national reciprocity. If you have a permit to carry in one state, you can then carry in other states, and kick it back to the conference committee. And if the anti-gunners in the Senate didn't want to give us all those nice goodies, well, then they would have killed the bill and wouldn't have been blamed on gun owners.
Yeah. Are there any upcoming big decisions coming up, or?
Yeah, in the courts, there's a lot of things going on. We just won a big decision. This is really great. In Illinois, which has been one of our target states, Warren County, Illinois, had a law that if you lived in public housing, you couldn't own a gun in your own home. And we had a plaintiff who was a retired disabled police officer who can't afford to live anywhere else. And they wouldn't let him keep his gun, and of course he needed to protect himself from people who he's sent off to jail before. We went in federal court and we won a permanent injunction against Warren County, so that they can't deny people in public housing the right to own a firearm. And again, in public housing is where crime tends to happen, and you need a firearm to protect yourself. We won that suit, and the judge also declared that we get our legal fees back. That was a really big victory. But we also have in Illinois as well, Moore versus Madigan, which is our lawsuit that we won at the federal appeals court level, to knock down the ban on carrying firearms for self-protection anywhere in the state of Illinois. And of course, now Illinois may be appealing that to the U.S. Supreme Court. So that case may end up being our third case at the U.S. Supreme Court. And so we've won the right to own a gun in your own home. We've won the right at the Supreme Court that it extends to all 50 states, not just the federal government. And hopefully we'll now win the right to carry. So we've got about 30 lawsuits going on, percolating up through the courts. And it's really exciting times in the litigation front.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Well, thank you so much, Alan, for speaking with me today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
News by the Barrel.